From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, India is a spellbinding mosaic of culture, tradition, languages, and an extraordinary mingling civilization. Keeping its age-old culture maintained, today the country is taking huge strides on the path of development. Hello, I'm your host Lipakshi, and today in our episode of My India, we bring you some of the stories that will give a glimpse of our country's diversity. India is blessed with varied topography, beautiful flora and fauna, and picturesque views, which has made it one of the most desirable tourist destinations in the world. Today, in our episode of My India, we'll take you on a journey to experience the best of nature with the Bilmora-Waghai narrow gauge train in Gujarat. Running between Bilmora in Navsari district to Waghai, the train crosses dense forest and the Saputara hill range, leaving the passengers spellbinded.
India has emerged as one of the biggest tourist destinations around the world. From age-old architectural marvels to lush green forests, each region in the country offers a one-of-a-kind experience to all travel buffs. Running for the last 111 years, the Bilmora-Waghai narrow gauge train has always been a center of attraction for tourists. The train runs between Bilmora in Navsari district of Gujarat to Waghai in the southern part of Gujarat and provides a breathtaking view of dense forests, lush green flora and brooks.
अभी ये जो मौसम बहुत अच्छा है और दिस इज़ द बेस्ट रूट है जिससे हम ट्रैवल कर सकते हैं और अराउंड द नेचर, क्लोज टू नेचर हम रह सकते हैं और डांग की जो पूरी खूबसूरती है वो इससे हम देख सकते हैं कि क्या है। ये ट्रेन के बारे में पहले हमने नहीं सुना था, पर एक मैगज़ीन आता है जिसमें हमने पढ़ा था इसके बारे में, इसकी जर्नी के बारे में और कैसे ये कितना किलोमीटर डिस्टेंस कवर करती है और कितना नेचर होता है वो सब, तो एक मैगज़ीन के थ्रू हमें पता चला था ये।
अर्बन सेंटर से आते हैं तो इट इज़ क्वाइट ऑब्वियस व्हाट इज़ हैपनिंग हियर। आई मीन दिस इज़ ग्रीन पैच, नॉर्मली यू डोंट सी एनीवेयर, very few tracks are like that, and first time this vista, I don't know, this narrow gauge and vista, it's a new combination, so it's good, impressive.
The train passes through the picturesque views and the Saputara hill range and leaves the passengers spellbounded. During monsoon, when the sky is covered with blue clouds, the train passes through a bridge, providing a mesmerizing view for the passengers to remember. The 62-kilometer track of this route was laid by the British at the instance of the Sayaji Rao Gaikwad in 1913. It was to be a part of Gaikwad's Baroda State Railway, the railway line owned by the princely state of Baroda, ruled by the Gaikwad dynasty. The train passes through a total of 9 stations, including those of Gandevi, Chikhali Road, Kala Amba, Unai, Dholi Kua and more. Passengers and tourists rejoice the journey as they take their time out from the urban lives of relishing the beauty of nature.
बहुत बढ़िया है। अभी मैं आने वाला है उससे पहले बहुत बढ़िया है। मैं कोविड पहले से प्लान कर रही थी ये ट्रेन में आने के लिए, तो मुझे बहुत ऐसे है कि नहीं मैंने जाना है। मैंने यूट्यूब देखा, फिर सब लोग का फ़ोटोज़ देखा, तो वही से मुझे ऐसा है कि नहीं मुझे ये ट्रेन में मुसाफरी करनी है और मुझे एंजॉय करना है मेरे फैमिली के साथ। तो एटमॉस्फेयर आज बारिश का है तो बहुत बढ़िया है। क्या है कि बारिश आ रही है, मैंने बहुत सारे फ़ोटो खींचे, फैमिली के साथ है, ब्रदर सिस्टर है, पेरेंट्स है, बाहर बहुत बढ़िया सीनरी आ रही है, तो बहुत बढ़िया है यार। एटमॉस्फेयर तो बहुत बढ़िया है, बारिश भी बहुत, मौसम बहुत बढ़िया है।
In order to add to the experience of the passengers, the train includes an air-conditioned Vista Dome coach for spectators to enjoy the beautiful views in a much comfortable way.
लोगों के पास से भी सुना कि ये ट्रेन में सफ़र करने वाले की संख्या अभी बढ़ गई है। बढ़ गई इसलिए कि उसका न्यूज़पेपर में, चैनलों में जब न्यूज़ आया तब से लोगों को जिज्ञासा हो गई। अभी ये एक कोच लगता था, आज 2 कोच लगाए हैं। लोग सैटरडे संडे एवरी यहाँ प्रवास करते हैं। हमें भी इच्छा हुई हमारे दोस्तों के साथ में, हम देखो आज पूरा कोच भरा हुआ है हमारे दोस्तों के साथ में। तो हम इसमें सफ़र कर रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं हम तो ग्रीनरी, मोर दिख रहे हैं, सब आजू बाजू में बहुत मज़ा आ रहा है।
Apart from serving as a big tourist attraction for the scenic beauty of the area, the train is also an important means of transport for local tribals for transporting their elegantly crafted bamboo works.
Sufism has entrenched itself at the center of cultural and spiritual life in India. The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir serves as the richest reservoir of this tradition, and this can be well witnessed during the Urs of Sufi saints in the region when people cutting across religious lines gather under one roof. So giving a glimpse of this unique devotional culture, today we take you to the Urs commemoration of Baba Buddh Shah, which has recently commemorated in Udhampur district of Jammu and Kashmir. Take a look.
Sufism in India has promoted a common way of understanding the world and has been a binding force between citizens who belong to diverse faiths and cultures. People from different faiths congregate at Sufi shrines dotted all across the country to offer prayers and wish for peace and tranquility. This brotherhood was well witnessed during the Urs of Baba Buddh Shah in Chinani area of Udhampur district, where a large number of devotees gathered to commemorate the occasion.
यहाँ इन बुजुर्गों के फैज से आज दिन तक चनैनी जो है ना आबाद इलाका रहा। हिंदू, मुस्लिम, सिख, ईसाई का बहुत भाईचारा रहा यहाँ पर, क्योंकि सब अकीदतमंद यहाँ मानते हैं। ये जो दिन हम यहाँ करते हैं इसमें सबका योगदान रहता है, सबका कंट्रीब्यूशन रहता है। हिंदुओं के पैसे भी आते हैं, सिखों के भी आते हैं, मुसलमानों के भी आते हैं। फिर सब धर्म के लांगरी इकट्ठे होके खाना बनाते हैं और दुनिया में तकसीम करते हैं। हम तो ये मैसेज देंगे कि कोई भी ना हिंदू है ना मुसलमान है, ये अल्लाह ताला का बनाया हुआ एक इंसान है। किसी को भी काटो तो वही खून निकलेगा, जैसा हिंदू से निकलेगा, जैसा सिख से निकलेगा, जैसा ईसाई से निकलेगा।
It is the belief among the disciples that the demise of Sufi saint is not mourned, rather it is celebrated as their union with God. As a part of the celebrations, Sufi scholars and imams sermons the public on the life, religious services, teachings and spiritual strength of the saint who devoted himself in service of the public good. Forming an integral part of the public ethos for the last several centuries, even today, the Sufi tradition play an important role in the lives of the people and connote them with an understanding of the world in all its spiritual dimensions.
सब धर्मों के लोग आते हैं, हिंदू, मुस्लिम, सिख, ईसाई हैं। पूरे अवाम जो है वो इलाका से आती है और जहाँ ये मिलजुल के सब भंडारा जो करते हैं, यहाँ 5-7 हज़ार लोगों का आना इस त्यौहार पे आते हैं, जो साल के एक बार होता है। ये हमारे मैं बचपन से आ रहा हूँ, 1980 से मैंने शुरू किया था। हमारे चाचा जान हमारे वफात पा गए, बशीर अहमद परवाना साहब ने, उन्होंने हमें इस जगह पर लाया था। वो इसका ही पूरा देखा रेखी करते थे।
A community kitchen or langar was also set up outdoors to serve meals as a holy sacrament to the devotees coming from different regions. The Urs commemoration of the Sufi saint and the number of devotees coming to the shrines clearly indicates that the lesson of humanity and compassion towards all religious communities is still having its roots deeply embedded in the cultures and traditions of India.
Now a roundup of some of the major stories that made news recently.
The city of Srinagar, the summer capital of India's Jammu and Kashmir Federal Territory, was decked up as it geared up to host the G20 Tourism Working Group meeting. The meeting of G20 members on May 22 to 24 is a part of a series of meetings ahead of the G20 summit in New Delhi in September. Banners, hoardings and paintings filled the city as security was also beefed up in the region to prevent any untoward incident.
और G20 आज से शुरू होने वाला है, तो उसका हम तहे दिल से वेलकम करते हैं, क्योंकि ये हमारे कश्मीर के लिए, हमारे कश्मीर की डेवलपमेंट के लिए ही है। चाहे कोई भी आर्ट फॉर्म हो, चाहे म्यूज़िक इंडस्ट्री हो, चाहे टूरिज्म हो, हर एक चीज़ ये डेवलपमेंट के लिए है।
India, which holds the chair of the G20 this year, has organized a series of meetings across the country in the run-up to the summit in New Delhi in September. Thousands of Tibetans living in exile in India's northern Dharmshala hill town gathered at a monastery to offer prayers for their spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama. The crowd of Buddhist devotees, which also included foreign nationals, gathered at the Suglakhang monastery and chanted prayers in adoration for the Nobel Peace Laureate. The prayer ceremony was on request of Tibetan scholar Lama Zopa Rinpoche and co-founder of the Foundation for the Preservation of the Mahayana, who passed away earlier this year. The Dalai Lama, who fled from Lhasa for asylum in India in 1959, has worked for decades to draw global support for linguistic and cultural autonomy in his remote, mountainous homeland situated between India and China. India translocated 3 tigresses in a bid to improve the country's ecology and regulate tourism and economy across its states. 2 tigresses, which were relocated from the Brahmapuri forest area in the western Maharashtra state, were released in the Navegaon Nagzira Tiger Reserve.
बहुत सी ऐसी जगह है हमारे देश में जहाँ पे टाइगर बढ़ रहे हैं, ह्यूमन वाइल्ड लाइफ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बढ़ रहा है, तो उसको समझने के लिए ऐसे प्रयास करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। किसी न किसी स्टेट को आगे आना है ये प्रयास करने के लिए। अगर सब डरेंगे तो नहीं होगा। तो महाराष्ट्र पहला ऐसा स्टेट है जिन्होंने इस प्रयास को करने की कोशिश की है।
Meanwhile, another tigress was released in the Northern Rajaji National Park in Uttarakhand state, where the state chief Pushkar Singh Dhami waved the green flag for her release in the presence of the country's forest minister Bhupendra Yadav. Tigers face the threat of extinction from poachers for the lucrative trade in their parts, encroachment of habitat by people due to the rise in human settlements, and loss of prey.
Moving on, we'll take you to the small coastal village of Kovalam in Chennai city of Tamil Nadu, where the shrine of Hazrat Tamim Ansari has been serving as a cynosure of religious harmony for generations. Take a look.
Situated in the coastal village of Kovalam, the shrine of Hazrat Tamim Ansari Sahib Rasul Dargah Sharif has been serving as a cynosure of brotherhood and unity for generations. Located around 40 kilometers away from Chennai city, the Kovalam village is a famous tourism destination which is visited by people for its boat clubs and blue beach. The shrine is visited by people of different religious communities who, irrespective of their religion, offer prayers to the Sufi saint.
சமய நல்லிணக்கத்தின் ஒரு கேந்திரமாகவே இந்தியாவின் தர்காக்கள் விளங்கிக் கொண்டிருக்கின்றன. அதில் முக்கிய பங்கு வகிக்கக்கூடிய இடமாக சென்னைக்கு அருகே 39 கிலோமீட்டர் தொலைவில் அருகாமையில் இருக்கும் நபிகள் நாயகம் ஸல்லல்லாஹு அலைஹி வஸல்லம் அவருடைய திருத்தோழர் சஹாபி ரசூல் ஹஜ்ரத் தமீம் அன்சாரி ரலியல்லாஹு தஆலா அன்ஹு அவருடைய தர்கா ஷரீஃப் முக்கிய ஒரு மைல்கல்லாக அது விளங்கிக் கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. இங்கே அனைத்து சமுதாய மக்களும் வரக்கூடிய ஸ்தலமாக இது இருக்கின்றது. சர்வ சமயமும் கலந்து இளங்கும் ஒரு காருண்ய பெருங்கடலாக இங்கே நல்லாட்சி செய்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றார்கள் தமீம் அன்சாரி நாயகம் அவர்.
Irrespective of their faiths and religions, people visit the dargah to get the blessings of the legendary saint. It is believed that the Sufi saint fulfills the wishes of all those who come here from different corners of the country. People of all faiths have deep faith in the saint, who throughout his entire life worked for the welfare of humanity.
இந்த தர்காவுக்கு ஹிந்து முஸ்லீம் எந்த வேறுபாடும் இல்லை. எல்லா ரிலீஜியஸ்காரங்களும் வராங்க. அவங்களோட நம்பிக்கை. மெயினாக இந்த அமாவாசை நாளுக்கு முஸ்லீம்ஸோட ஹிந்துஸ் தான் குழிய ஆரம்பிச்சிருவாங்க. குறைஞ்சது 1000-2000 பேர் குழிய ஆரம்பிச்சிருவாங்க. இவர் 1400 வருஷம் முன்னாடி ஸல்லல்லாஹு அலைஹி வஸல்லம் போர்ல இருந்த சஹாபி அல்லாஹ்வோட ஹுக்கும் ஆயிட்டு அவர் கடல் வழியா கோலத்துக்கு வந்து சேர்ந்தார். அவரோட சமாதி தான் இந்த ஜீவ சமாதி. ஓகே, நம்பிக்கை வேண்டுதல் எடுத்துன்னு வரவங்க அவங்க வேண்டுதல் ஆகாம யாரும் போறதில்லை. இங்கே முஸ்லிம்ஸ் ஹிந்துஸ் வேறுபாடு கிடையாது. ரொம்ப சக்தியான தர்கா இருக்குது. ஓகே, நம்பிக்கை இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு கண்டிப்பா அவங்க நம்பிக்கை நிறைவேறும்.
India has remained an epicenter of many such sites that strengthen the bond of secularism. People from all faiths, rising above their ethnicities, castes, creeds and religiosity, gather at these places and spread the message of peace and brotherhood for coming generations to follow.
And now we bring you a few short stories about the recent developments and happenings from around the world in our section of World in Focus.
These workers are carefully scraping rust and patina off thousands of years old Nigerian bronze artifacts. But unlike the better known Benin bronzes, these cultural treasures are not scattered across Western museums and private collections. This is the National Museum in Lagos and the artworks are Igbo Ukwu bronzes. The National Museum is carrying out restoration work on some of the Nigeria's oldest but lesser known collections. But it is doing so at a time when there is uncertainty over the return of thousands of Benin bronzes. Many are kept at the British Museum in London, which has resisted calls for repatriation. In March, President Muhammadu Buhari decreed that all returned Benin bronzes looted by British soldiers from the ancient kingdom of Benin in 1897 should be in the custody of a royal ruler in the modern-day Benin city. Some institutions have also raised questions over whether Nigeria can safely keep artifacts returned from abroad. But at the National Museum, a grant from the Bank of America is enabling the restoration works, says the head of the conservation unit, Adinek Niidare. Niidare said the grant will provide modern equipment and training to boost conservation. The Igbo Ukwu artifacts date back to the 9th century according to the museum. They were discovered in 1939 in southeastern Anambra state, part of the region inhabited by the Igbo people. The 200-strong collection includes intricately designed bowls, pots, vases and shells, now being lovingly restored to their former glory. From beaches to landfills, a Bahraini artist made it his mission to collect unwanted wood and turn it into pieces of furniture at his small workshop in Manama. Growing up, Ali Najib spent his time at his grandfather's carpentry workshop where he learned the craft and later made it his profession.
I've been doing woodwork since I was a kid. In my grandfather's house there was a small carpentry workshop, so we used to do the service jobs in the workshop, like cleaning the wood, cleaning the workshop. But later on I developed my skills by myself, educate myself by watching videos online, and I become like a full-time carpenter now.
On his free time, Najib is dedicated to recycling unused wood into useful items such as candle holder and other furniture pieces that he either donate or sell at low prices. Combining his passions for art and for preserving the environment, Najib wants to give these abandoned logs another life. The wreck of the ill-fated Titanic ocean liner has been visualized in full for the first time as part of what researchers say is the largest underwater scanning project in history. The full-size 3D model was created with data gathered by two submersibles named Romeo and Juliet during a 6-week expedition to the North Atlantic wreck site in summer of 2022. In all, the mission gathered 16 terabytes of data from the wreck 3,800 meters below the surface. Scientists involved in the project described it as a game changer which offers to completely rewrite our understanding of the 1912 disaster. Titanic sank in the early hours of April 15, 1912, killing 1,517 people. Researchers say the study was conducted without interfering with the wreck, and the team held a flower-laying ceremony in the memory of the dead.
And with climate change becoming a global concern, it becomes important for individuals to take initiatives at the ground level for bringing about a significant difference. A small but significant step in this direction is taken by Mukesh Jain of Udaipur city, whose campaign Tree Ambulance is saving drying trees and making the city a greener one, thus contributing to the cause. Have a look.
In order to protect Udaipur's biodiversity, Tree Ambulance service has turned into a mission as more than 5,000 trees have been planted and are receiving care with the help of the vehicle. Called the Tree Ambulance, the initiative was started by Namokar Seva Sansthan. Started by Mukesh Jain along with 35 members, the number of volunteers associated with the campaign has now reached 750. These volunteers take care of trees planted all over the city by sprinkling water and rescuing drying trees.
जब ये ट्री एम्बुलेंस जहाँ पे भी जाती है, इसमें इतनी व्यवस्था दे रखी है कि जो हमारे इसके साथ में 3 लेबर काम करती है, वृक्ष को पूरा व्यवस्थित टी गार्ड समेत खाद वाद लगा के कंप्लीट करके आती है, और लगाने के पश्चात कभी पेड़ में कोई खराबी आ जाती है, कोई टी गार्ड जैसे टूट फूट जाता है, चोरी हो जाता है या पेड़ खराब हो जाता है, तो ट्री एम्बुलेंस जाके उसको व्यवस्थित करती है.
A crew of 6 people board the vehicle, which reaches the spot after getting information regarding a plant that needs treatment. There is a complete schedule under which the volunteers of the organization operate. These volunteers plant trees for 5 days and take care of damaged trees for 2 days. Locals are lauding the efforts of Mukesh and his team, which is turning Udaipur into a much greener city.
5 साल से हम बैठ रहे हैं और ये बहुत बढ़िया काम हो रहा है इनका. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. आने वाले टाइम पे ये और हरियाली हो जाएगी तो बहुत बढ़िया लगेगा. इसमें जनता भी आके बैठेगी, इधर पब्लिक भी आके बैठेगी, बहुत बढ़िया लगेगा. जरूरत, बहुत जरूरत है ना पेड़ों की. पेड़ होंगे तो सब कुछ है ना. बहुत जरूरत है पेड़ों की. तो
Volunteers at Namokar Seva Sansthan have planted 5,250 saplings at some of the major intersections of Udaipur so far.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. Your comments and suggestions are important to us. Do give us your feedback at myindia@anin.com. I'm your host Lipakshi, and it's goodbye from the entire production team.